So we'll talk about two new initiatives, and these aren't really totally new. We're really just doubling down on things that we have looked at in the past, but we want to put a lot more emphasis on, one of which is aligning with education. This is something that I apologize if some of you have heard this before, but you would expect with my experience in the past working in higher education that we would naturally work on aligning with education. I found in this new job that everywhere I go, I'm talking to businesses that are complaining about not being able to get the workers that they need. It's almost without exception, with maybe exception of Larry Gibson, but we hear that over and over. They're looking for workers. They have gaps that they can't, or jobs they can't fill. At the same time, you're talking to parents and they're saying, and other young people, and they're saying they've got degrees and they can't get jobs. And you're thinking, how does that happen? That we have kids graduating with college degrees and that can't get jobs, and at the exact same time we have businesses that can't fill the jobs that they have. It's just lack of communication between the business community and the folks in higher education. So one of the things we're taking on, working with many in state government, is to make sure that we bring better alignment. There's a little anecdote and a sad note for me. This is one of the things that I thought that I would be actually really good at, because back in July of last year, I was actually appointed the chairman of the Tennessee Higher Education Commission. This is the body that coordinates all higher education policy within the state. It's kind of as a result of the work before, and I thought, this was, by the way, I love this job. It was just something I was passionate about, and I didn't have to work full time, but I could have influence and strategy and policy in all of higher education. In fact, when I got appointed, it was a 3-year term, and you could get, you had one additional term, so you could actually be there for 6 years, but I kind of wanted to be like the Putin of higher education. You know, that guy that just seems like he's supposed to be term limited, but he just hangs around forever. So that was my goal. And so in November, the governor calls me and asks me if I want to do this job, and we talk about this. So I can be Commissioner of Economic Development, and I can be the chairman of the Tennessee Higher Education Commission. And he said, yeah. We both talked about that. This is great. I mean, talk about alignment. Chairman of Higher Education, Commissioner of Economic Development, the same person. And unless I'm bipolar, I mean, we are going to be in alignment all the time. Well, we can make this happen. Sadly for me, in January, I get this call from the governor's office, and somebody in legal says, well, it turns out, technically, you can't be both. So you're going to have to resign being the chairman of the Tennessee Higher Education Commission. But the good news is we still have all those connections with the folks over there. We're working very hard across the department, across state government, to work with, to make sure that we're better aligned. Actually, when people ask me, oh, is this different working in economic development than what you're doing before, I always tell them it's the exact same job. Really, it's K to J is about kindergarten to a job. I'm just working on the tail end of the equation. You know, educational attainment is workforce development, which is economic development. Some of the things that we're doing to make this alignment happen is, one is the governor's workforce subcabinet, and we've got a breakout on that. So I'd highly encourage everybody that has the least bit of interest in workforce development, which should be everybody, to go to this breakout and talk and learn about some of the things that the workforce subcabinet is doing. But we have a whole range of people within state government that are coming together, from Department of Labor to obviously Department of Education, UT, TBR, higher education, all working together to make sure that we're focusing on ways in which we can improve alignment. And they'll talk in more detail about some of these initiatives. I'll mention two very quickly. One is marketing these skills gaps. One of the biggest challenges that we have today, we have through the Tennessee Promise and Reconnect, we make tuition free. Everybody can go and get those skills that they need. And we have great facilities between our community colleges and our Tennessee Colleges of Applied Technology in most places across the state. So access is there. Our problem is demand. Too many high school kids are being told that factory jobs are not good jobs, and they're wrong. They're getting bad information. We've got to help market this, that these are $22 an hour jobs. These are great jobs that you can start off with, and they're in demand. They can get a job immediately. So one of the things we want to work on is that. And the second thing is we're looking at working on more ways to encourage apprenticeships and internships. So one of the stats that I heard a couple years ago that stuck with me, and I hear the evidence of it all the time now. Businesses are constantly telling you that their workers, especially the ones coming out of high school and college, don't have soft skills. What they mean is they don't know how to work. They've never worked in teams. They don't know how to show up on time. They just don't have any work experience. Well, it turns out, 15 years ago, 48% of all the students that graduate from high school or college had had a job somewhere along the way. They had worked. Today, only 24% of our high school and college students have had any type of work experience. Kind of makes sense. If you've never had any work experience, how are you expected to know how to work? One of the things we need to do is try to provide more opportunities, and more opportunities could be through apprenticeship. So this is a key area which this team will talk about. Workforce 360 is an initiative within our department working with all the other departments. And again, it's always Team Tennessee working with the Department of Labor and Department of Education and our local chambers and mayors. But the idea behind the Workforce 360 is to make sure there's also the same alignment within the local community. So when we bring a business to a community, a prospective business to a community, we can pull this team of local stakeholders together that can speak to everything that they need to be able to develop that workforce that they need for the future. So my boss always reminds me of the ABCs. Everybody knows their ABCs. Always be closing. So I got to get one pitch in this morning. And the pitch is sign up to be a mentor. We talk about some of these great educational momentum we have across our state. A big part of it is this new program called the Tennessee Promise, which guarantees every single high school graduate the opportunity to go to college for free. But I think the thing that people spend too much time on is the free part. The free part is important, but that's really the marketing piece. That gets students in the door. The most important part is not getting into college, but it's getting out of college. They've got to, it's not just about access, it's about success. And the way to make it successful, the thing that makes this program work is the mentors. And the mentors are volunteers. The mentors like you, and very specifically you. We would like for all of you to think about, not to think about, let's change that. I would like for all of you to sign up to be a mentor. Everybody's busy. I'm busy. I've been a mentor for the last 6 years. It's 10 hours a year, but makes such a dramatic difference in the lives of these young people. These young people that we're offering these mentorship or this mentoring to, 68% of them, they're the first one in their family's history to ever go to college. They need somebody that can guide them, give them some advice. So this is critical work that you do. It's critical for them, but it's also critical for our state. If we're going to achieve the greatness that we talk about, we need them to be successful. So not only are you changing those children's life, you're changing the trajectory of the state. And I can tell you as a mentor myself for the last 7 years, it's also incredibly rewarding. 10 hours a year, knowing that you've actually possibly changed the total trajectory of 4 young people's lives, it's incredibly rewarding. So please sign up. We need, for this coming year, 9,100 mentors, and we've only got 4,145 as of today, so we need some more mentors. Take it back to your local communities, take it back to businesses that you're involved in, your own organizations, but please sign up to be a mentor.